That's happening right now.
Oh, that's happening right now. Oh, thank you for that. Yeah, noted. And then I go to Texas for a wedding, and then when I get back, it's like full throttle because Michigan Tech will be happening October 1st. And we got a demo day. Everything's happening actually in Detroit at New Lab. So there's a lot of fun things happening. You should definitely get out there, go meet people. Some things are free, not all of the things, but there's definitely a great opportunity to get connected to your community and yeah, do the good work that you're doing and get involved. Bless you, whoever that was. All right, so we're gonna kick it off. Oh wait, last time. If you are just getting in, make sure to fill out the information on the QR code. That way we can have beverages and happy hour and community all coming together. There's just me, so that's our last one. Cool. All right, so y'all know the drill. We get 5 minutes to pitch. We get 5 minutes of questions from the audience. I'll be putting the timer. When R2D2 goes off, it's your what is this, from Pitch Perfect, cut off. Yeah, yeah. And then we don't have any other special announcements, so we're good.
We'll have announcements.
Okay, so first company up, CAPNOS.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Does this work? Can you hear me all right without the mic?
I was like, we can.
I'm
gonna try to close the doors, but
Is this better or would you prefer? Okay, mic. Okay, great. Usually I need my hands for demo, so I'm like, all right. Let me get. Is there a timekeeper? This is my first time.
I am your timekeeper.
Okay.
I was like, I'm committed.
Great. Let me just throw one up too. All right. Hi everyone. My name is Brendan Wong. I'm the founder and CEO of CAPNOS with the goal to prevent lung diseases and save lives. I started vaping at the age of 14. I was addicted for over 5 years. Throughout this time, I've come to discover that what started off as a craving for nicotine has evolved into a craving for the motion itself. Many of you might know someone who's trying to quit vaping or smoking alike. And frankly, with it being the leading cause of death, we recognize that it's entirely preventable, yet it's something that has led us to now pursue the mission to help 1 million people quit vaping by 2027. At the age of 19, I invented the CAPNOS Zero. It's a flavored pressurized air inhaler that works like this. There's a silicone valve that pops open, which creates that throat hit sensation, all while having zero smoke, zero nicotine, and zero charge. It's flavored with natural extracts like mint, orange citrus, or lavender through these cotton wicks, so it's picked up through the sense of smell. There's no battery, meaning there's no heat, thus no vapor. We also introduced the CAPNOS Easy, which is a low-pressure mouth pull version, priced at only $24.99. We want our products to be affordable, so they're accessible for anyone to use anytime, anywhere. Earlier this year, in April, we launched the CAPNOS Lacura. This is our new premium option. At a price of $74.99, we feature a multitude of new features, including a silicone bite cap, dual airflow channels, a crown for fidgeting, and it's built with rugged materials to last a lifetime. In addition to this, we have cap packs with a month of flavor included at $13.99, and flavor packs with blanket options available for people to mix and match their own flavors. Later this year, we'll soon be announcing the launch of the CAPNOS Breezy as well. Since we started 2.5 years ago, we've been able to deliver over 70,000 units of our products across the world. Over half of survey respondents recently have said that they've been able to have a positive reduction in their vaping usage to either reduce or eliminate the behavior altogether. We've also been able to grow year over year through steady revenue increases, and this year are heading toward break even, toward profitability to build a sustainable business that's mission focused first. Compared to other products on the market, we're the only ones that have provided a throat hit experience while also being accessible for youth. The cost to change a habit within 1 month is also far lower than those of existing solutions like nicotine replacement therapies. That being said, we do recognize that quitting is often a lifelong journey. Throughout this stage, despite the majority of our customers being stressed out SAMs, we recognize the importance to focus on youth educational programs. That's why later throughout this year, we're really working on helping youth better connect patterns and beliefs to better identify why habits exist, to become empowered in making change within, rather than saying, I need to quit vaping simply because it's bad for my health. That message no longer works. In collaboration with researchers in Chicago, we've been able to survey respondents from over 30 countries to discover that the primary sensory attributes people are looking for in their vaping experience are due to the throat hit sensation and that hand-to-mouth motion as priorities higher than nicotine. When we have long thought it's about nicotine, it's really not. We've also built a global team as well, with team members all across the world in 6 continents. We're an LGBT certified company, Asian owned and minority owned, and we believe that having a team that represents the global population we're here to serve makes for a better ability to reach those markets. That being said, we do recognize, I did update these slide photos, so this aren't the updated photos, but within high schools like Pioneer or local schools here, I grew up in Canton, Michigan, I went to Plymouth High School. We're looking to get involved through educational programs, whether through seminars or health classes, through universities. We're here looking for interns, as well as affiliate and partnership opportunities. I was also at the CBS Health campus last week discussing retail opportunities, in which we're still looking for additional ones, and also pursuing opportunities with health insurance payers, quit programs, and other partners alike. With that being said, for those of you here, I would encourage you to reach out to your school principals, administrators, or students, or family and friends whom you know might be struggling with vaping, and connect us together. With that being said, I'd like to invite you all to join us together in putting the cap on vaping. Thank you.
All right, we have 5 minutes for questions.
I have 2 questions. Do you have any IP that would protect your device?
Our products are patent pending for the Zero, Easy, Ligura, Breezy, and we do have a registered trademark for CAPNOS, the name, and we have additional trademarks pending.
Okay, and the patent is on the actual device?
For the utility, yes.
Okay. And the second one, your business model has nearly churned by design. Maybe you don't market it, but you try to sell it in such a way, right? So how is your financial model looking like?
Sure. So we have a very low customer acquisition cost because the demand is already there. We've been able to achieve LTV to CAC ratio, so lifetime value of about 20x through very minimal marketing spend and through, actually I have one of the slides up. Through TikTok, we've been able to amass a fairly large following, gaining millions of views through a very low cost means. But this is why we really prioritize partnerships first to develop advocates and encouraging more education in this space for wider adoption.
Okay. Thank you.
How do you make sure that your substance you inhale is not harmful?
Natural extracts are currently stated as safe for general use through the FDA's own guidelines. That being said, we're currently looking to expand further into the UK and Australian markets, which does require more stringent testing standards, which we are upholding to perform as well as part of our commitment to quality and safety. That being said, with the research that we're doing to have a clinical study, as outlined in one of the earlier decks, this is another means to examine that this is still going to be a safer harm reduction tool than what exists on the market already.
A couple questions. One, what's your retention like so far? Is your long-term goal? Well, that's the first one. What's your retention like? Are you seeing 50% retention,
For retention, we can look at it from different lenses, right? There's like returning customer rates. We've been able to see 12% come back. Now the thing is, this is intended to be used to accomplish the goal of behavior elimination, and they don't have to come back, right? It's the idea that you don't have to keep purchasing more and more, such as disposable vapes right now, which, I mean, like 25 bucks a piece, people are buying it once or twice a week. It's very expensive. And so with this, the idea is to also offset some of that waste as well.
And the silicone hit, is that part of you're familiar with the expectancy effect? The expectancy effect is where, like, I tell you I'm giving you alcohol, you take a drink of the alcohol, and it's not alcohol, but I told you it was, so you're expecting to feel a buzz, and you start to. Are you measuring that in your clinical study at all, the expectancy effect?
So with the study, we're focusing primarily on the use, examining how CAPNOS devices, in collaboration with these two, we're looking at how CAPNOS devices can be used as a standalone in looking at efficacy rates for vaping reduction or elimination, while also being used with NRTs. So that's the control essentially is, what does it look like putting on its own, on someone's own, versus using one of these devices?
Cool, that was my next question.
Sure.
Thank you.
Excuse me if I'm wrong, but like I had an acquaintance friend who was vaping something that had no nicotine, no anything in it. Was it a non-safe version of this, or what was he smoking? I thought he was smoking it because it was safe.
Yeah, so there are certain products out there that are zero nicotine vapes. Now what these products provide is it still has a battery which heats up a coil and then turns the e-liquid into a vapor. So that's still being inhaled. Those may contain propylene glycol, vegetable glycerin. And the difference between our product is that it's just air, with the exception that the aroma is picked up through the sense of smell or the olfactory system. So it's not a direct ingestion per se, thus making it a safer option.
So it is a safer option.
Yes.
We saw your prices. How are your margins? What are your costs per unit?
That I will not share with the group today, but I will say, we've come to the pricing we have so that it's a fair price for customers, so that it's widely affordable. But we want to make sure as a business we can survive first to continue our operations, which is why we're focused on becoming sustainable through profits.
Love it, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you all for your time. Really appreciate you all being here. If you would like to connect with me, find me afterward, and we can share details. Thanks.
Thanks, Brendan. All right. You ready to get lit? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Are you worried?
I'm always worried about
No, never mind. All right. A super nerd, a better super nerd than I. This is Janet. So everybody say hi to JP. It's Dr. Price, but this is JP. That's how I always call him.
Good evening, everybody. As Margarita mentioned, I am Dr. Janet Price, and I'm the Chief Science Officer at the company Lit Thinking. So we are a healthy buildings company, and we're really focused on creating healthier, cleaner air within our indoor spaces. So a little bit about indoor air. It's really come into the forethought of most people's lives more recently, specifically because we spend 90% of our time indoors. So when we're thinking about our air inside, it really impacts our overall health, our productivity, and a lot of other things that maybe we don't really give it credit for. So now with the pandemic, everybody's more aware that pathogens, of course, are in our air and can easily spread from the person next to you or that person in the meeting who won't stop coughing. And there's really not a whole lot we can do about it. Right now, the way that we deal with pathogens in the air is dilution. We bring in more outdoor air into our spaces, and the idea is to flush out the air that's been contaminated, which becomes a problem when you start thinking about the outdoor air that you're bringing inside. If it has more pollutants, maybe some gases and particulates you don't really want to bring in, what are your options for creating clean, safe air indoors? So when we're talking about improving indoor air quality, you really only have three options. First It's your HVAC system. It's the thing that's bringing in your outdoor air indoors and conditioning it to make everything comfortable remotely. And that's fabulous. And you could turn that up, but if you talk to any building manager, they will tell you that is expensive. So another way you could do it is add more filters. MERV 13 filters got a lot of play during the pandemic time, and they can take out particulates and pathogens from your air. But again, this puts a higher burden on your HVAC system, and now you're drawing even more and more energy just to keep the air clean. So what lit thinking does is use this third option, irradiation. The idea that you can treat the air in each individual rooms using light in order to reduce pathogens, using far UVC. So a little bit about what far UVC, I had to go into it, I'm a scientist, this is my favorite part. So far UVC is the shortest wavelength of light within the ultraviolet spectrum. It encompasses about 200 to 230 nanometers, and UVC light in general is germicidal, and the way that it does this is it interacts with the DNA and protein of the particulate matter of the pathogens within our air in order to create damage that makes it so they are inactivated. So here you can see two lovely air plates. So these are bacteria that have been grown on these plates by taking a bunch of air and pressing it on these plates. So you can see that the plate that was taken from inside our office at Lit Thinking, where we have our Visium devices on all of the time, has markedly less bacteria present than the hallway right outside of our office in the incubator space. And you can see that this change happens very quickly. So when we have these lights installed, generally speaking, about 10 minutes you can get 90%, 99% reduction of the pathogen in your air. So let me introduce you to Visium. So this is our overhead light. The idea that you can install this into a ceiling just like you would any other light fixture, and it's providing constant 24/7 air sanitization. The best thing about this, in my opinion, is the fact that we're compliant, and we are the very first overhead whole room UVC device that is able to be on constantly. So we've gotten certified through UL and a lot of other governing bodies so that we are the leader in safety and efficacy in this space. Additionally, we validated all of the microbiology because that was my job and that was my favorite part. In addition, we have a Lit Thinking app. So when you have a network of these in your buildings, you can actually look room by room to see what your air quality is and how well it's been cleaned. So you can tell when your conference room is ready to have its next group of people in. In addition, 30 seconds. Thank you. It's very energy efficient. In fact, the Department of Energy did a comparative study to look at how much energy it would take in order to use your normal traditional systems to get that amount of clean air, and found that only far UV systems and whole room systems were able to get you to what they recommend for air changes per hour. So really, it's not filters, it's not HVAC, it's going to be these UV systems. So for us at Lit Thinking, the thing that we really stand on is we have the right team, the right expertise, and some great backing. We have partnerships at a various set of universities where we're doing continuing research and actually investing in the future by looking for LEDs of these lights. And we're actually backed by someone that everybody's very familiar with in this town. Stephen M. Ross and Matt Higgins and RSC Ventures are actually our co-founders and those that are backing our primary pilots going on. So now that we've launched in April, we're very excited to show that we are leaders in the space through education, our resources, and our commitment to providing cleaner air. Go ahead.
Well, are you talking right now of only having commercial applications? What about in our homes? Can we use this in our homes at this point, or is it not available?
So it's not for residential use just because the air changes in those spaces are not high enough. We want good airflow so that any particulates made by the light are taken out through your normal HVAC system, but anything over 2 air changes per hour is fine. So in office space, 2 to 3 air changes per hour, perfect. We're also looking into healthcare. We actually are launching in the long COVID clinic at Mount Sinai right now, so health-focused, commercial focused.
I don't understand what's wrong with why you can't apply this to residential.
I agree, but the issue right now is the there are safety standard regulations where right now all that UL will approve is things that are not in residential, because where people are sleeping, you never know exactly the level of ventilation in their space, and nobody wants to be in a poorly ventilated area, especially in it with a light that may be introducing particles.
We haven't gotten there. They haven't been able to test it yet.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I would like to follow up on this safety aspect.
Certainly.
Because the technology is not new, but
No.
if you ever bought a $10 UVC light, you know you don't want to be there when it's on. So, and that's literally, you don't need to be a scientist to feel it. So how come this is safe?
Certainly. So the difference between the traditional bulb that you will buy on like an Amazon or put into your HVAC system is that our light is peak at 222, which is a very short wavelength of light. It doesn't penetrate deep enough into your skin or even your tear layer in order to get to a tissue where it could cause damage. So it's great for pathogens. It doesn't do anything to our skin.
Is there a height requirement then on the ceilings?
Yes, exactly. So our diffuse optics can be put on a ceiling 7 foot 4 inches, and our clear optics can be at 9 foot 4 inches. The idea is that the top of our head for very tall people will be within the limits for threshold.
So you're counting on the air toner over the rising air with the HVAC system pointing up to the planet?
No, because these lights are pointed down into your space. So it's actually cleaning the entire room all of the time. Go ahead.
For example, in a room like this, like how many lights would be in the room?
That's a great question. So each lamp covers about 200 to 300 square foot. So because of the height, I might put 5 in here just to make sure I covered everything.
I understand it's either 0 or 90%. Cleaning percentage.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So is there something in the middle?
Is there a term for that?
Because if it's too sterile, you will never develop immunity. So.
That's a good point. The joy of being around people is that they're constantly introducing pathogens. So it's not that we're making sterile air. We're not claiming that. It's this, that after a certain amount of time, the air that's been introduced has been treated. So in theory, I think about it as instead of having the 6 foot rule, maybe we'll get like the 4.5 foot rule, right? The idea of how long it takes for those pathogens to actually be dealt with.
The Dwight Schrute method.
There you go.
Yeah.
Why would you not just use it at the HVAC?
Sure, so the downfall of HVAC besides the energy intensive is it only treats the amount of air that you can put through the space. And people who are producing the pathogen are here. Right, we're a foot away from each other, and if you're going to get sick, it's here. It's not going to be in your HVAC system. So by treating the pathogen at the source, you have the best return on lowering your risk of infection. Go ahead.
How do you measure how many pathogens are there in the air?
Yeah, so that's the hard part. Most of the time, we won't measure pathogens directly unless we're doing a pilot where we'll take before and after samples. So like those plates I showed, we take a specific volume of air and then count the amount of pathogens at the end. But the lovely part of it being a characteristic of the light is as long as we can show you that the wavelength is present, it's having the effect.
Do you have anything coming to market or considering anything to market that's essentially a like portable air filter, where to the point of like instead of having to install them in a physical infrastructure, it's a portable unit?
So the downfall of air filters, while great because you can get to that CDC recommendation, is they're again limited by the amount of air that you can put through. And we think this will create the biggest differential for pathogen reduction. So we don't currently have a plan for an in-ring unit.
Dr. Price, right.
Oh, thank you, everybody.
Yep, good.
If you see someone barging in through the door and asking you to get out of the way because he's supposed to pitch,
I was waiting. I was looking.
know that he's a friendly person. He was supposed to be switched. So I'm talking about my colleague, Tony Burt. He lives in Grand Rapids. I live in Ann Arbor. Oh, I thought I've got a loud voice.
Can you guys hear me now? Is it
You're
better?
angry. Yes.
Then I'm angry.
Yes.
Oh.
She's seen me. Yeah, so,
Introduce yourself.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Oh, you did do that? The
I
grand
mean, I
entrance?
can tell the stories about
Okay.
Jasmine Kerr. She's actually presented at A2
I know, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
this is
you're an
like,
old school.
yeah. And I know, yeah, I have clear memories. We used to do this in the law school at that time.
Yes.
Was anyone there other than you? I know Doug Song was in that pitch.
Yeah.
I know Brian Kelly was there.
Yeah.
And those were the days, oh gosh, I don't want to date for how long I've been working on this. But yeah, it was it was right before the pandemic.
It was before the pandemic.
Yeah, right before the pandemic.
And
So
literally, I had just started working at Spark. I had first started conversations with Doug.
Yeah.
And he was like, who are you?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so right before the pandemic is when Culturebie started, or I founded Culturebie. So it feels surreal to be back here. It was just dreams at that point in time. I was quite naive about what it takes to build a startup. Sweat, tears, blood, everything. I have experienced all of that, and it's a fun ride. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been still here. When I started Culturebie, the journey actually changed. We were focused on building a people analytics application, and nobody knows what the heck that means. Does anyone here know what people analytics means? Yeah, kind of, yeah. You've been trained.
To be an hour, you want me to actually start?
Yeah, so at that point, so people analytics, I am ex-Microsoft, so just for introduction's sake, and that'll tie it back to why I had a dream, the kind of dream that I had at that point and why it changed. So I worked at Microsoft for almost a decade. I worked on the HR side of things. I worked in a field called talent management, leadership development. I worked with the C-suite at Microsoft out of Building 34, where Bill, where Steve at that point, and Satya briefly, I heard he's come back to the same building. We worked out of there. And my job was data analytics, but really storytelling with data. And a lot of that work that I did, I saw that leaders really cared about, but it happened in spurts, because all that work happened really manually, and we had to really limit the kind of questions we could ask about our employees. It would be like, well, Steve cares only about college hires and compensation. So okay, let's build a storyline around that. And then, the annual surveys would happen, and we would really look at data at a very, very high level. We would do our COO, Kevin Turner,
I'm going to start your pitch.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, oh, by the way, is there a
Too.
time? Is there a time?
Yeah.
How much?
It's 5 minutes.
Okay, so now you guys know I wasn't supposed to pitch.
Alright, here we go.
I was going to tell you the full story. Okay. So, but long story short, that's my background, and I really wanted to automate all of that, which is that why is it that when it comes to operations, sales, engineering, we have so much stuff about numbers, data, metrics, but when it comes to employee experience and culture, there is none. So that was a long story, but the short version. Anyway, so now in its current avatar, Culturebie is doing employee experience, but we are calling ourselves business intelligence. Because my naive idea about, hey, you're going to give insights to companies and leaders about employee experience really got a dose of reality, because I realized business leaders, they don't really care about employee experience unless and until it impacts business outcomes. I was really, really naive about that, and all said and done, what matters is business outcomes. You saw what happened to the whole DEI wave, the death of DEI as they call it. It's really because we hesitated to tie inclusion and diversity back to business outcomes, and that's why DEI is in the shape that it is. Anyway, leaders, however, love to talk about culture. This is hot off the press. Amazon CEO Andy Jassy sent out this memo saying, hey guys, come back to work, because if you don't come back to work 5 days a week, it impacts our culture. Okay, so blame it on the culture. But here, guess what happens every time this kind of announcement comes out? There's a huge backlash inside the company. There he is. That's Tony.
Yay! All right, keep going.
You can jump in anytime, but we only have 4 minutes now. So the thing is, like, you know, end of the day, culture is everything. Because, and I'll share 2 studies with you around why I say what I say, and I think it's pretty commonly accepted, but I'll still use data to describe and explain why I'm saying what I'm saying. There's this study done a couple of years ago about the market value of companies and how only 20% of that is driven by tangible assets. The rest, 80% of the value of a company is really driven by intangible assets, and that ultimately is a downstream effect of culture. In addition to that, there's a lot of studies. I'll quote another one. MIT did a research which showed that companies with a stronger culture, good culture, had 25% higher profitability, 50% higher customer satisfaction, 50% higher innovation. So the point is made that culture is really critical. Yet companies fail to optimize on the power of culture on a very systematic basis. And that's because data that can help you understand, interpret, map culture is really elusive. It's like scattered, it's like ambient, it's all around us, but you can't touch and feel and see it on a regular basis. It's hard to analyze. It's a mix of a lot of different kinds of information. It's multimodal, there's text, there's numeric information, and all this data is handed over to the HR team, which is often not equipped to analyze information like that. And lastly, none of the culture-related information or data is really tied to business results. And you saw Andy Jassy. Amazon is like amazing at tracking their operation metrics. But yet he comes up with this loosey-goosey statement about, oh, you know what, you need to come back to work because our culture is suffering. But there's no metric, there's no data. And I will say, it's not just Andy Jassy. A lot of our customers, when they floated memos like these, they got a huge backlash from the employees saying, show me the data. And there is none.
Más rápido.
Sorry. Yeah, much faster. Okay, so what is our solution? Our solution is to tap data that can help companies put a number, a metric, create a culture map by using existing sources of information based on productivity tools, based on operational analytics. Apply our proprietary algorithms that puts this data through a prism, and sort of a prism, I think of it as a prism, which creates the culture map, and then finally tie it back to precise business outcomes. The most obvious one when it comes to culture is employee turnover, but there are operational metrics that our customers are today using, things like safety incidents, scrap rate, downtime reduction. By tying those, we can whittle down the recommendations to the precise ones that can have the highest impact on the business performance. We serve all these analytics in a very user-friendly storyboard that helps any average business leader be able to interpret and take action. The normal tendency for anybody in data analytics, and I missed that piece, I switched gears 10, 15 years ago to move from HR into data science. So I preserved my tendency to not just dump charts to customers, instead present insights in plain English is what we call it. Today we have a bunch of different customers. You can see the logos right there. The latest addition was Applied Materials. I know I pinged one of our community folks, one of the local entrepreneurs, saying that, hey, if we get through Applied Materials, given that we are such a small team, absolutely bootstrapped, I'm invincible. That's what I told him. I still have that text. Yeah, okay.
I need 10 seconds.
Okay, 10 seconds. Yeah, I think I'm gonna actually stop at this.
Well, it was like the leaving note. What do you want people to know?
Leaving note is that
what's your website?
we put the money where the mouth is, which is that if we say that culture can impact business outcomes, we tell our customers that, hey, you know, you can pay a subscription fee like you pay to our competitors, do that, or actually don't pay us until we can actually move the needle on the business metric that you care the most about, be it scrap rate reduction, be it unplanned downtime reduction, or employee turnover. And that is, I guess, like the ultimate differentiator between what we do and what a lot of consulting companies or HR tech companies do, which is just float a lot of surveys, get some very weak insights, which companies may or may not do anything about. So.
Adding to the mix is Timmy Bird.
Yeah.
All right, you have 5 minutes worth of questions.
Yeah.
And they're pitching at Invest 360, so we're making a difference in their lives right now. So
yes.
let's dig in a little bit.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, this isn't a question, but what impresses me, if I understood what you said, is that you're not saying pay us X amount of dollars an hour or whatever. You're saying pay us after we after you get the results that you're looking for.
Absolutely.
That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, and nobody does that. Yeah. Thank you for calling that out. Yes.
I have two questions. One is, how does this differ from, I think Microsoft has something like Viva
Insights.
Yeah, it's, I find it not
so
very
you know, a
useful.
lot of that, and that's my biggest gripe, is insight for insight's sake. It's like, what do you do with it? Okay, you spent X minutes in meeting more than you did like last month. You spoke to this person more than that person last month. And I know Microsoft is putting in a lot of like infrastructure effort, but I will tell you, my customers get some of that for free, some of it paid, and there is no ROI to any of that.
Yeah, and my second question is, what's your moat? Because you're basing the data on the data from cloud providers, and each one of them has thousands of stacks they can assemble from. So if we presume your software is the best, they will just copy it and cut you off.
I think there's something to be said about our DNA, which is, yeah, if it was...
if there was a moat, it would have already existed.
Yeah. I think this mindset itself is so rare, which is to have the courage to translate culture into and link it to business outcomes, that only academic researchers do that, and that also most often it's correlation, not causation. So this whole mindset applied to culture and people experience is just not done. And I would love it if somebody copies it so we can get better than them.
Okay.
So people often are too afraid to report negative experience, don't care about reporting neutral experience, and too lazy to report positive experience. So how do you deal with that?
Is this still on?
That's a good question.
Yeah, but I'm audible.
You're good.
Yeah, so you know, and I have seen data of, I don't know, like 100 different companies, customers, either like, you know, in consulting capacity.
I don't know how hard you were squeezing that, but
I was like passionate. Okay, so you can't do much about those things. But the one thing that I've seen work is that when companies bring in a third party like us, and we have a brand which is really anchored on ethical use of data, we also say one more thing, which is that our data and insights shall do no harm, which means that majority of our insights are aggregated at a group level. That really makes a difference in putting employees at ease in terms of sharing negative feedback. And yes, like I will say, positive feedback doesn't come up automatically. That's where we do tap, when we are listening, doing employee listening, we specifically intentionally ask questions which elicit the positive sentiment as well. So that is about proactive feedback gathering. The other is ambient data listening. What's happening in our environment through a lot of like metadata in communications. That will tap into information as it exists. Yeah.
2 points.
Yes, please go ahead.
2 points.
Yeah.
One is, since you guys are pitching,
Yeah.
response to his question on vote,
Yeah.
is the IP that you have accrued over your experience with Microsoft, working with the C-suite, and with the experience of the companies that you have.
Right.
As you work on more, your intellectual property increases, that you have embedded in your applications.
Yeah.
For any one newcomer to come in and do
Yes.
the same thing,
Yeah.
it'll be a huge barrier to them.
Yeah.
That's your that's what you have learned, right?
Yes,
So that was
that's
just
a nice elaboration on my DNA point, that it's so much in our DNA.
Exactly.
No, thank you.
The second point was,
yeah.
which of the HR matrix or these indicators go in the financial reports of the companies?
I think employee turnover and compensation are the biggest ones that I've seen, and the other is diversity. I'm talking about just the HR metrics.
Just the financial reports that with stakeholders or
Which the
shareholders would
get.
be worried about, care about.
Most often it is diversity, representation, inclusion, compensation. That's the traditional one. But again, did I press it again really hard? Yeah, I did. Some of the metrics that we are impacting around productivity, scrap rate reduction, safety, they also go into the reports.
So the reason why I was bringing this out was that business leaders may not be too, they may not be interested in knowing those nitty-gritties of information. There is a huge customer, or I would say the user base, which is the HR business partner and the talent acquisition teams, right? I'm telling you from my personal experience, right? They have the data, they just don't know what to make out of that data, what to just infer from anything. So if that were your target users, the HR VPs, and they will gobble up this. I can tell you, they will gobble up this information that you.
One more question. Okay. No, but a point taken, 50% of our current target user is HR, but the other 50, interestingly, and they are more exciting in terms of linking to business outcomes, because honestly, having been from HR, I'll still say HR doesn't use data as much as it should. It's a slow adopter, but point well taken that they are our home base. Yes, please.
More technical side, you mentioned metadata. Are you using APIs to connect to in-house tools? I saw you brought up a little bit ago. Like, how are you getting that metadata?
Yeah, so the most basic, and Tony chime in, but the most basic ambient data is email-related metadata, and we are using the Microsoft APIs to tap into that.
Are you like reading the email and like inferring?
Not content, just metadata as of now. Again, we want to be very ethical about it and ensure that we do no harm. That seems stolen from the Google.
So actually metadata is more useful determining if people are not reporting negative experience than direct questionnaires.
I think the ambient sometimes. But I will say I've seen some companies evoke a lot of trust in their employees to share information voluntarily, and some are really bad at it. It's a mixed bag. That's why I was hesitating to give a very straight answer, because it really depends on the company. Salesforce, the head of their people analytics is somebody I was talking to, and they are building some product analytics on top of Slack. And I was like, but do employees share stuff in Slack openly? And she's like, oh no, you don't know what all they share. They will talk about like everything, anything, and we wish they didn't. And in some companies it's really closed. So it's a huge cultural difference in that respect. Tony, any final words, anything you said? Okay, sweet. And stay connected. This was like really as unprepared as I could have been. Walked in and just
hanging out with my kids too. Yeah, this is about as good as it gets.
Yeah, I better get prepared before Friday.
You'll be fine.
But thank you, everyone.
All right, y'all. We've reached that point in the night where we're done with our presentations and we get to the next point. If you are new
to our ecosystem, you want to come share about yourself, you're looking for things, or you're recruiting for more talent, please come join us. If you, but I was like, I know we caught it earlier. If you're new to our ecosystem, you have something to share with your ecosystem, you're looking for talent, I mean, this is that special time. All right.
Is it just us?
I mean, I'm probably gonna call on some people as it comes out, but I was like, we'll rotate here. But Bud is a good dude. You can these pretty faces. Yeah, pull the pretty faces.
Hey, I'm Bud Gibson, and I'm here with my field manager, Bayan Farha, and we're representing the Digital Summer Clinic. Each summer, we hire 48 interns to work with 24 companies. We typically get close to 600 applications each summer. We take people from all of the schools in the area, as well as Michigan students who are studying in other places. And so one thing we do is in fall, we put on seminars about what we learned over the summer. And we're actually going to be doing that as part of A2 Tech 360 in a seminar held, and I have flutters, in a seminar held a week from Thursday at 4 p.m. downtown Ypsilanti in Spark East, 215 West Michigan Avenue. And the basic premise is this. Since the pandemic, people have gone over to marketing with virtual experiences. And so how do they mediate that? Well, typically it's through video and audio. And then how do they know what's going on? It's with data. And so we had two teams, one working with a company called Lease Magnets, which just did its millionth virtual apartment tour. And then another set of interns working with Biomedware, which is a data science startup focused on geospatial solutions in the healthcare industry. Strangely enough, they also use a lot of video to explain what they're doing. So this is going to be a 1-hour seminar catered by Mai's Cantina, great Mexican place in Ypsi. So have flyers here, and happy to hand them out and hope to see you.
Thanks, Bud. By the way, y'all don't know, Bud runs a fantastic program. It is helping so many of the companies in our ecosystem, so please holler. Yeah.
I'll vouch for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jasmine was once a client with
Yes.
Culturebie, and,
Yes.
and we have Scott also in
I was
the
like,
room.
I've been a client after. Thank you.
It's dying. It wasn't that he was holding it to the point, it's just dying. So you'll have to project.
All right. All good. Yeah, I'm Josh Harris. This is Jelani. We're actually from D New Tech, which is a newer version of A2 New Tech. So we were just gonna, so we're just gonna announce ourselves here. We're kind of new leadership a little bit. We're changing up a little bit, and we're gonna be doing our meetings on the first Wednesday of every month. So the next one would be October 2nd. So hope you guys come out.
Where?
We're meeting at, it's called Altimetric Colliders, the office. It's right on Woodward. If you guys know where the Brakeman or the YMCA is, downtown Detroit, it's like right on that corner. So find us on Meetup. I think that's all we're on right now, is D New Tech. I'll probably make a Facebook page sometime soon. So yeah, check us out there and come out 2nd of October, first Wednesday of the month.
So what's your website?
My website?
No, your
D New Tech, right now we're just on Meetup at the moment. So I'll be making a Facebook page probably, but yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
We
we'll get
found
there.
out recently that New Tech actually got acquired, or Meetup page got acquired, and we had to figure out this little conundrum thing, so we should figure this out together.
Yeah, good to know.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Good July.
I just wanted to quickly tell you about New Enterprise Forum. They help a lot of the companies, like the pitchers tonight, develop a pitch deck to get them to the next level if they're looking for financing. This week on Thursday, normally we have it in the Ann Arbor Spark building, but because of A2 Tech 360, We're kind of like the beginning of all that process. We're going to have it over at NetScout on State Street.
Yep. It's a big building, you can't miss it.
Yeah, and then we have slight refreshments and things like that, but the networking starts at 5 o'clock. If you're interested, if you like pitches, and you think that maybe in the future you might be looking for financing,
it's quality pitches.
The mentoring that they provide really help out a lot.
Thanks, Greg.
Hello. Hi. I don't even think this
You just holler.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Krista. I am on the advisory board of South by Southwest Pitch. It's coming back for its 17th year next March.
Dude, we
8/29.
totally connected.
Did we?
Oh, totally.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I encourage all of you to look into it and see if that's something you're interested in applying for, because it is a way for you to have exposure on a
Do you
global
cover
stage.
waivers?
I'm sorry?
Waivers.
Yes, if you need support with the application fee, please contact me. I can support with that. But just a little bit about South by Southwest Pitch. Since its founding in 2009, it has supported over 650 startups. 93% of those have received funding, totaling $23 billion, and 17% of the startups that have participated have been acquired. So it's a great opportunity for exposure. Look into it. Google South by Southwest Pitch 2025 for more information.
There's like an entire pitch book of companies that go through the process. I mean, that's how we got funding, is actually through South by Southwest Pitch.
Amazing.
No, see Pathware. Yeah.
Cool, and I would love to see a Michigan company represented, so check it out.
Thanks for coming out.
Of course.
Baton now. That's a baton.
Yeah. Hi everybody, my name is Arash. I came to Ann Arbor 2 months ago, and the news is that if anybody have heard about 1 million cups as a Kaufman Foundation, that 150 different places are doing every Wednesday 9 to 10 a.m. Entrepreneurs come to present their ideas as like a community, not pitching, and they're kind of talking about you're not coming to pitch, it's a community-wise. And we are hoping to launch it October in Ann Arbor Bamboo Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
And hopefully see you if you know someone that are interested to present. That would be interesting to join. Just search it, 1 million cups.
Is it for tech companies? Is it
It's general.
agnostic?
It's
what do you mean?
Entrepreneurs less than 5 years. Small businesses can present their ideas, and this community try to help. If you have a problem, you can ask the audience to help whatever they can, give you advice.
Thank you.
Are you on Meetup, LinkedIn?
Not yet, but we are trying to, we are in the process of certificates and training of organizing team. So in the near future, you will see lots of things on LinkedIn and Facebook probably. Thank you.
Can I say something?
Oh, absolutely, do it.
Hi, I'm Erin McDermott, and I've been streaming this whole thing to TikTok right now. Oh, thank you. So thank you again to the organizers of A2 New Tech for letting me stream this and give you guys some more boost out there. But aside from my TikTok, which is Firestarter, I have a company, Firestarter, and I'm an optical engineer, so I would love to talk to you, Dr. Good. I specialize in illumination, so not taking pictures, but lighting, IR sensors, illumination for robotics, anything with it like an LED or any other light source that doesn't form an image. It's my own company. I usually work with startups, so that's why I like to come to these things with you guys. Also, if you know anybody that needs help with that, I give 5% commissions for referrals, so come get a business card if that might be you. Thank you. For referrals, so come get a business card if that might be you. Thank you.
Maybe next month. Okay. I thought we had discussed it before. And this whole breakage down with the meetup page, yeah. Let's fade this out.
Yeah.
Yellow. All right, everybody, that concludes our event. Is anybody from Spark here? Okay, noted. Have a good evening, everybody.
Is there anyone still here? Hi. Okay, I'm getting off now. Bye, guys.